Hi guys, Trinity here. Tonight's video is going to be a video response to Kelly Bear's 5 decks that I can't live without. Now, let me just tell you the process I had to go through, guys. The other day, a couple days ago, Simon did a video, and I did a video response to that, and it was your 5 faves. So, basically your 5 favorites right now. Now, this was hard for me because I have about 50 plus decks. However, like 5 or 6 of my decks, maybe a few more, I'm getting rid of. I'm going to either gift them or trade them or what. I'm probably going to trade them. Okay, so the other decks that I chose from were decks that I felt like they were my favorite and kind of stayed my favorite over the last few years. Well, when I saw Kelly Bear's video yesterday, I said, you know, I just did a top favorites. And I was thinking to myself, can I do another one? Well, yes, because this is different. This is 5 decks that you just can't live without. So this is how I chose my decks, and maybe this will help you guys if you are thinking about doing a video on this, responding to Kelly's, and trying to decide on what 5 are like your all-time go-to, can't live without 5 decks. What I did was I left my Oracle in the cupboard and I grabbed all of my tarot cards, and most of them are in bags or in bags and boxes, and I laid them all down on the couch, and I took the pile and I sorted them out as follows. The first thing I did is I said, let me grab the first 10 decks that I ever bought and worked with, and I set them in one pile. And then I took the rest of the decks and I said, okay, let me see what were the ones that I read with the most over the last, say, 5 years. So I put those decks in a pile, the ones that I've been not grabbing for recently, because you could just get brand new ones. I'm talking about over the years, decks that I keep going back to and using them to read, okay? Then I did this. I said, you know what, if I was going to go away on a week's vacation and I was only allowed to bring 5 decks, or only had room for 5 decks, what were 5 decks that I would take with me in case, say, I couldn't come back, or I got delayed and I had to stay longer and I had to these decks, right? So that is how I broke it down. And in the end, I still had 18 decks in my pile, and I'm like, this is just not working. I mean, what do I do here? So I had to narrow it down to the 5 by saying, okay, who's got seniority, guys? Let me look at my babies and see who's been around the longest. So, excuse me. In this pile, these are decks I've had for like 4 or 5 years. I could not, in good conscience, grab any of my newer decks. And I have newer decks that I feel like are soul decks to me, but I couldn't, in all fairness, include them into this because I felt like it would be unfair. So without further ado, let me get to the 5 decks that I would not be able to live without, okay? The first, and I'm not putting them in any order, I'm just going to say that the first deck that jumped into my head that I just couldn't live without would be my Arcanum Tarot. And you guys have seen this a billion times if you've watched any of my videos, because I even put this in my top 5 faves. So this deck, I believe, is my soul deck. This and the Thelema, but this one over the Thelema. For me, it's got kind of like a Renaissance-y feel. I just love these cards. I love the coloration. I love that they're borderless. I I love everything. I love everything about them. I love the style. I love the passion. I love the skin tones. I love the way the wands are twisted. I actually made myself a wand out of sassafras that looks just like these. And my one girlfriend would come over to get a reading from me, and she would look at the cards when I was doing her reading, and I'd almost always have these, and she would see that twisted wand in almost all, in I think all the wands in this have that same twisted sassafras looking one. And she'd be like, every time I see these cards, I have to look at that wand. I mean, that walking stick. I'm sorry, it's not a wand, it's a walking stick. And I make walking sticks. I make twisted ones, straight ones, bent ones like a cane. I make all different styles. And I decorate them all nice. But anyway, Arcanum Tarot is one of my 5 decks I couldn't live without. The other one that I could not live without, and like I said, when I chose these, I went by the decks that I got first that I fell in love with and I still continue to use. Even when I get all these new decks, I still use them. And to be fair, I have some new ones right now that I am totally in love with and feel like they're soul decks. But these guys gotta come first. And you all know it, you all love it. The Morgan Greer Tarot. Most tarot readers that I see have this deck in their collection, and it's in their favorites because I hear them talk about it a lot. And you see them put it up, and it's because it's such a friendly, lovable deck. It's not too fairy tale-ish, and it's not too Rider-Waite-ish. It's not too Rider-Waite-ish, I'm sorry. But anyway, you know the Morgan Greer. Sorry about that. Family, as usual. That's why I try to leave the house to do videos. They never leave me alone. Okay. Next is another favorite of mine, is the Arcanum Tarot. Now, I saw this deck, I saw like a review or a couple reviews, and one of the people I'm subscribed to would do readings and use this deck all the time. And at first, I had a little trouble finding it, like a few years ago when I first started looking. But then when I went back online, I was able to pick it up. I don't think you can just go to Amazon and get this. Excuse me. I don't remember if I went to the creator or if I went on eBay, but I know it took me a little time to get it. Now it might be more readily available. I'm not positive, but anyway. That is the Arcanum Tarot, and I really, really love it. And I believe there is a couple versions of this. I remember seeing, like there might have been a second edition, a first edition. I'm not sure which edition this is. It has the black skinny borders, but I even love the backs. I love, love, love this deck. I showed this one in my faves because this one became a soul deck. When I got its sister deck, the Illuminati Tarot, I loved that, and I thought it was a soul deck. And it just wound up, there were things I didn't like about it that I couldn't get over. So I was not going to edge this deck because for some reason I kind of liked the white, but I wound up edging it, I don't know if you can see that, in gold and red. Like, I kind of, some of the cards I did red. Let me see if I can, and some I did gold. I don't know if you can see that. Probably not. The lighting in here is not super, but anyway. If you've never seen the Apocalypse Tarot, this is what the backs look like. very Egyptian. And let me just say this. They have an outstanding guidebook, in my opinion, because there's a lot of history in this deck. A lot of cultures. I mean, even the Dalai Lama for the Hierophant. And then it breaks down and gives you all the information about the Dalai Lama. And there's gods and goddesses in here. And it gives you the history and the breakdown about each figure that you see. And in this deck, I believe Santa Muerte is the death card. And there's a whole section in the book on that card and telling you about that. And this came out before, I believe, before the Santa Muerte Tarot, which I also own and love. And that would have been in here too, along with several other decks. But anyway, the Apocalypsis Tarot. Like I said, I edged it, so that's the only reason the sides are like golden red, and I made a bag for it. So that's another deck I could not live without. And lastly, because I don't want to hold you guys up, is could not live without this deck. This deck, when you buy it, this is the Druid Craft Tarot, is bigger than this. And I have big hands for a girl. And, I don't know. How do you do that? Okay. These are, put it this way, these are friggin' trimmed and they're still big. But they're manageable when you trim them. And basically, some people trim these a lot smaller, and they'll take this whole, they'll zip this whole bottom off, because once you know the tarot system and your cards, you really don't need the words or the numbers. But some people cut this off to where it's just the picture, a borderless picture. I wanted to leave that down there, and I didn't go right up to the edge of the picture because I kind of like this stone wall look. But anyway, this is a very nature-y, kind of pagan-y kind of deck, but it follows the Rider-Waite system. Beautiful imagery, very nature-based, woodland-type deck, and I just love it. I really do. There's a couple cards that I could live without that I'm not like crazy about, like the Two of Wands and stuff. And how about that Two of Wands? And I was just saying, and I get it, and I get what the card's saying, but I really don't care. I love this deck, and I would not want to be without it. Okay? So that is my 5 decks that I can't live without. The video I did a couple days ago were just my 5 favorite decks, and 2 of these were in there anyway. It's just that I'm going to do another video tonight because I accumulated a few more decks, and you know, I was going to try and do that depth year thing, and I just don't know if I can do it. I can't help myself. I just love my tarot decks, and if this was the top 10, I might have a slightly easier time making choices. But anyway, maybe guys, you could try to categorize when you're picking, like when we're doing video responses, like what I did, and maybe that'll make it a little bit easier for you. It's hard when you love these guys and you just want to, I had some newer decks, like the Tarot Grand Lux, that are definitely 110% a soul deck of mine. And I wanted to add them in here, but I didn't think it was fair to my originals. So, there you have it. I think I made this video long enough. That is the 5 decks I cannot live without. And I hope to see more of you guys' decks that you can't live without, because I enjoy watching everybody's videos, and I appreciate you watching mine. Like and subscribe, guys. Love you all, and I appreciate you all. I appreciate you taking the time out of your day to watch my video. Have a great day or evening. Bye.